Favorite perfume. All right. Thank you guys so much for coming out here to the Stranger Things panel. I'm going to be your host, and I'm not going to waste any of your time. This show rules. You know that it rules. And I was very, very happy to get to be asked to do this, because this show, for me, and for I'm sure a lot of you, is basically my adolescence in the 80s. The only thing that was missing is if one of the kids fell into a Galaga machine and actually had to pilot a ship for real. So today, a little later, you're going to be seeing some footage from the second season that nobody has seen. But let's just start. Let's get into it. Let's bring in the creators of this pop culture juggernaut. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Duffer Brothers. And also, the executive producer and director, Sean Levy. Ladies and gentlemen, Sean Levy. Okay, now I gotta just start off. Clearly, Duffer Brothers. Can I call you Duffer Brothers as if you're a single entity? Please. Can you answer by each doing an alternate word, like you're some weird alien parasitic twins? That would be really cool, because that's how a lot of people think of you, I think, maybe.
Yeah,
all right.
Dealing with that.
Okay, good. So what was, for the people that aren't familiar, what was the grain of the idea? How did this concept come to be? Did you kind of mash up your adolescence, or what
Yeah, no, like we're like obviously big movie nerds, have always been. That's what we wanted to do. And we started to get into television as it became more and more cinematic.
Yes.
Shorter seasons, they started to feel like big movies. And so we're like...
I remember it was like True Detective, Cary Fukunaga doing that, and Steven Soderbergh's The Nick, and we just started going, I'm as excited or more excited by this stuff I'm seeing on television, if you even want to call it that.
And so it was like, what would be the ultimate long movie? And it would be Spielberg directing a big, fat Stephen King book.
And so John Carpenter doing this.
Yeah, John Carpenter's
with John Carpenter
yeah.
music, yeah.
Right. So that was the dream, and that was sort of the ambition.
We didn't think anyone was going to make it, so that was a nice surprise. Yeah.
Wow. Nice. And then, Sean, how did you get involved? What made you go, oh?
Well, my executive, Dan Cohen, he comes to me one day and he says, you need to stop what you're doing. I've read the script by these two twin brothers that no one's ever heard of, and it might be the best thing I've ever read. And I read it, and it was. And I didn't know kind of how it was going to work. And again, we didn't know if anyone was going to let us make it, and we definitely didn't know if anyone was going to watch it. But I knew that this combination of an 80s backdrop, genre, and character authenticity was going to be something special. And I told the brothers, you know what, whatever you need, that's what I'm going to do, and let's get this into the world.
This was the fastest thing I ever binged. Once I saw the font on the title.
You were in, right?
Oh, no, man, that's every Stephen King novel font. That's awesome! Does that font have a name? You specifically searched that one out, or?
I do remember when we were coming up with the title, we were just testing it out in the font. We wanted something to look good.
Yeah.
It's like in that font, it was important to look good aesthetically. I think it got tweaked a little bit, but even from our lookbook on, it was a version of that. We wanted to look, yeah, like one of those Stephen King paperbacks that we devour.
I'm sorry, guys. I just know that Hall H loves font questions. Like,
Yeah.
that's the first thing.
But also, I mean, it's like, that's an expression of the auteurship of the brothers, is like right down to font. Like they knew what they wanted from the font before we even made the show. And that's how specific.
You knew it.
Yeah, from the ground up.
It's important.
And then the composer, the soundtrack of this show is fantastic. Have you heard about, like, because I remember when Twin Peaks came out in the early 90s, that Angela Badalamente's music began showing up, and like I would remember going to clubs and they would play that music. Has the Stranger Things theme made its way into any? That's a perfect end of rave song to get everyone to start going home?
Because the Duffers are always at raves.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they are. At concerts, they'll play it before the band comes out and stuff like that. I'm really happy for these guys, Colin, Michael, and they're amazing. They're out of Austin. They had never composed for film or TV before.
Really? What made you pick them then? Like, what
they had a synth band called Survive, and we were into them, and we tested it over like footage of ET and all this stuff that we mashed up together. We thought it was cool, and they did some test samples, and then we said they had day jobs. You can't make a living as an electronic musician in Austin.
Wait a minute, they weren't making that easy synth band money?
No, they weren't. I don't know.
Weird. Wait.
They weren't. So I said, will you quit your jobs, do this full time? They were like, hell yes. And here we are. Yeah.
I love the commitment to the 80s. You went for a synth band. Does one of them play a guitar? Because that would make it even more perfect. There was a guitar in there somewhere.
They've got, I don't know what the hell.
Probably everything.
Everything. Yeah, one of them worked at a used synth electronic store. So.
There was, a used synth store.
Yeah.
Is there anything more Austin than a used synth store?
Yeah.
That a guy is, sorry, unless they're selling pot out of the back, there's no... Okay, well, how about we bring on the cast from season 1? I'm sorry, hang on. No, I'm being told, ask more synth questions. Okay, so what was...
More fun.
Exactly. Well, first out, of course, the girl next door with the tough side, Nancy Wheeler. Ladies and gentlemen, Natalia Dyer. And then, we of course have the Hawkins heartthrob. Please do not rush the stage as Steve Harrington, Joe Keery. Next, please welcome the best police chief in Hawkins, Indiana. Bringing back the, Hellboy's got a dad bod. Okay. And now, already. And now, we have the mad scientist who will stop at nothing, Dr. Martin Brenner, played, of course, by Matthew Modine. There he is. Matthew Modine. He was out selling ecstasy all day, and now he's here. Yeah. Wow. You're gonna turn into a skateboard. Like, just try to unmetal yourself. My God. There is not a kid in the world who can handle a slingshot better than this guy. Please welcome the ultimate bandana-wearing badass, Lucas Sinclair, Caleb McLaughlin. Next, we have the kid with the biggest heart, the dopest hat, and the most beautiful smile, Dustin Henderson, Gaten Matarazzo. And now, the only boy who has escaped the upside down, Will Byers, Noah Schnapp, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, the ringleader of the pack and everyone's favorite best friend, it's Mike Wheeler, Finn Wolfhard, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Finn Wolfhard, an actor born with the greatest porn name ever.
Hey, thanks.
It is?
Really puts a great thing on my future.
Get a good agent, please. Just, you're allowed to say no to things, okay?
Introduce the next guest, huh?
Don't do anything called Stranger Thongs, that's all I'm saying. And lastly, well, thank you. You still got it, Oswald! Lastly, in a world of 10s, be an 11. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome the girl who can flip things in her mind, Millie All right. So Finn.
Yeah.
Finn Wolfhard.
Dude.
How did you? When you nail a take, do you look at the camera and go, Wolfhard?
One take Wolfhard. And they kick me out.
How did you get into the mind of Martin Willie? You really nail what it's like to be when you're a kid and you're actually a little more mature and intelligent than the other kids, and sometimes that's not an advantage. That, you know, like you kind of, how did you get into that mindset in the show? Because I remember moments like that growing up, like, oh, people don't want you to be this smart. So how did you nail that so well?
I mean, I'm not like that in real life, which is, but I don't know, I think it's kind of cool because you can sort of access your intensities and bring out that sort of leader vibe. But I'm not really sure. I mean, being smarter than all the rest of the kids is, I don't think Mike the character realizes that he's really smarter than the rest of the kids. I think he's just like oblivious to everything.
Wow. Wow. Cool. Yeah, that was. And now Noah, and I don't want to make you do any spoilers, but how has your character changed from being in the Upside Down, coming back? Like what? That's a weird question. I don't want to spoil the next season, but I mean, how did you? I'm going to let you try to answer my horrible question.
Yeah. I think this, compared to last season, Will definitely shows more bravery. And then you'll definitely learn how the Upside Down affected Will, and you'll get more into his storyline. But there's not much I can say, because I don't want to spoil anything.
Your producer's glaring at you right now. I'm sorry.
I see that.
Yeah, exactly. Gaten, Caleb, you guys are you guys are playing characters that are faced with a lot of weirdness and horror, and you stay very, very optimistic and upbeat, and you're about to deal with a new character that we're going to meet in a little bit, played by Sadie Sink. How do you think, is that going to change the dynamic of the group, or like what do we have to look forward to for you guys as characters?
These questions, man, the producers are just like staring at us.
No, this one feels safe.
Does it?
Yeah.
A little bit.
No, it's kind of hard to like loop around.
Yeah, like just talk about the story, because I mean, it's a fun story.
You know, we are friends.
Nice answer.
Like,
Right?
How's it going? Is it going well?
Dude, this is going
well
great.
yes, thank you.
Caleb, did you have to do slingshot training? Did they? Oh, whoa, okay. Sorry.
You know, I realized that, like, I did it wrong.
What?
Like, I held it weird in the beginning, and then I had to learn how to, like, the actual day where I had to, like, try to slingshot the Demogorgon, I was kind of like shooting it at the camera and everyone else around there. So I kind of had to teach myself, and like also like the Duffers were helping me out. They're like, oh, this is a good idea, and so I guess yeah, real training just with like more than one person. There's like everyone around. Huh?
Did you hit Mark in the eye?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I didn't.
I thought you might have. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay. Because he was there, you know. I thought I remember you hitting him in the eye. What?
Now, Millie, you have, you have minimal lines in this first season, and you have become this global phenomenon. So how do you play a character that speaks so little but expresses so much? Like, how did you get into that?
I mean, it was difficult because obviously I had very few lines, and I had to do everything, you know, express everything with my face, which is very hard. But it gets easier when you feel more comfortable with your character. The first 2 episodes, actually, I immediately fell in love with Eleven, and Eleven was me. So every day I'd come on set, and I think the only thing that was hard was crying, because I feel like I'm a happy person. So in real life, so that when I'm crying, it doesn't come across. I need like 5 minutes to kind of get in the zone. But other than that, I mean, it was difficult to portray such a hard character. But yeah, like I said, it gets easier. It's hard to keep a straight face with, you know, teen boys, because they play pranks and they tell a lot of jokes. Like when I'm doing an emotional scene.
She's talking about David, by the way.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm professional, but you know, overall, it was all right.
David K. Harbour.
What's up, Comic Con?
We're not selling timeshares, David.
I got a great one. You get a free clock radio if you just listen to my pitch. Come on, Pat, and ask a question.
Well, okay, you and I have kind of become friends.
Yeah, we became Twitter. We have a Twitter bromance.
And so we hang out with each other.
Sometimes.
All right,
Not enough.
Not enough?
Okay, go ahead.
Cool. All right, just want to establish that. Question for Matthew. Again, a lot of these questions that I don't, like, here's the question, how is Chief Hopper in season 2? But I don't want you guys have to give stuff away. The last we saw of you, you're leaving Egos for 11. You've accepted, you went from this very cynical, this is nonsense.
Yes.
I believe
I will say something kind of serious. I mean, like, one of the great things about season 1, at least for Chief Hopper, is that he does get to go on such a classic hero's journey. Right, like he starts out like such a jerk and such a loser and so horrible and you hate him. And then, no, it's true, and don't worry, I know how to play that. And then by around episode 4, you're like, this guy is super awesome, and if he dies, I'm suing Netflix. I feel the same way. I mean, no, right? Come on. Keep those emails coming, by the way, because no one walking to the end is safe. But I will say, so the journey was so satisfying to see him come to life, and I often say that, like, that breath that he takes after he revives Will, where I almost killed Noah Schnapp doing CPR, he sort of wakes up, right?
Yeah.
And so in season 2, it's like, it's a year later, and you can't start where you can't do the same thing. You can't wake up again. So I think one of the really interesting subtle things about the arc in season 2, which I can tell you, is that there is a psychology of a heroic action where someone does something heroic, and then whether or not they can live up to that in their daily life, or whether or not there are perils even of your own being a savior complex, and the sort of intricate psychology of like what that makes you as a human being and the pitfalls of that. So you're going to see a wildly different arc in season 2, but to me it's just as satisfying, like where we get to in the end. And it all begins with leaving Egos for a character in the woods who he feels like might still be out there, and he's got some daughter issues of his own, as you're well aware. So yeah, so I'll just leave it at that.
And then a question that got texted to me, will there be more Sheriff Hopper shirtless scenes?
Yeah, nobody needs to see it. That was the one hate mail we got from Netflix. Please, the marshmallow body on David Harbour. Enough with that. Where, no,
David, come on,
think,
man.
you know, hey, whoa, I'm so,
Stop body shaming
no,
yourself.
we'll definitely, Hopper gets to do some very thrilling, sexy things in season 2. Ooh. So, enjoy, kids.
Question for Matthew. You have played some of my favorite, most difficult, complicated character movies like Birdie and yeah, thank you. And so you also play a very complicated, ambiguous character in this series. Can you talk about how you got into that, into your character here? Oh dear.
What's up, San Diego? Anybody here from San Diego that lives here? Imperial Beach local, right here. Patton, I don't have any way of answering that question other than to, I mean, the wonderful